welcome to the show, Karl Pilkington. K-Man, how are you?
I'm all right, yeah.
How was Steve Wright in the afternoon? Did he like you?
Steve Wright, innit? Yeah, I got on with him. Does he not? Does that mean he doesn't sort of not get on with anyone, does he?
Well, I asked him, I said, do you ever get any guests that you don't really like? Because you can never tell with Steve, you know, he's very professional. And he says even the bad guests he can make look good in that wizardry of that sort of studio he's got as well.
He's just there. I mean, I don't think... I've been on it twice now.
Yeah.
And I don't think he moves. He just was sort of sloped in his chair with Tim and Jane sat there. And it's just like they wheel him in. There was another woman in before me, and he's just sort of sat there like some sort of...
Is he alive? Do you know he's alive? They might just be putting his voice through him.
He's full of life, and as soon as that mic goes on, he's Steve Wright in the afternoon.
Did you stick around for any factoids or anything like that?
No.
Yeah.
Don't. Get the book.
So, K-Man, how are you? I worked with you for 5 years, and I've been saying you were kind of my boss. I mean, you made the jingles. You also came up with, because to be honest, people, you know, if they found out what happened on that show of those 5 years, people we were very lucky at XFM then. Obviously, you started to work with Ricky. We had Adam and Joe there, Lauren Laverne, Richard Bacon, Kevin Greening. It was Zoe Ball. There were a lot of different presenters there. Some of them were alive. It was a great time. No? Okay, you didn't like it.
I mean, I was just stuck in a room all day.
Yeah, but of your own volition, you used to sit, Carl would sit in a small studio. You had to knock on the window to be allowed in, and then you would open the door or not open the door, or just sort of say, I'm a bit busy at the moment making jingles.
It was like the Big Brother diary room on it for some people. They'd come in and have a whinge. And then people go, oh, Carl's miserable. Well, yeah, because I'm putting up with people's... It was like a confession booth in there. People come in and have a moan about the bosses and the MD. What are they doing?
But when we got away with murder, commercial radio wasn't under as much pressure then, right? Because I would routinely, in the first couple of years, we would spend sometimes 2 hours making a 30-second jingle that most people would never hear on XFM. Do you remember the American Hostages
People
one?
who worked at XFM didn't listen to XFM. I mean, we were wasting our time. We should have just opened the window on Charing Cross Road and thought, well, there's someone who's just the killer's being played. No, it was a waste of time, but we shouldn't moan about it because a lot of people have done all right out of that place.
Well, namely you.
Yeah,
Missy, you know, there's
right.
posters. I've done all right. Brian's now in management.
Yeah, it's like a
You used
some
to be
sort
his
of
boss.
American 80s movie, isn't it? Where everyone like some sort of mad road trip and we all find ourselves, sort of thing. But yeah, it has been a bit of a weird one.
Because people probably won't know the story about how it came to, because everyone knows you now with Ricky and the podcast and stuff like that. But when Ricky came back to XFM, you know, it used to be Claire Sturgis, you know, who would just press the buttons, and they hired Ricky and Stephen.
Yeah.
I remember the first couple of weeks it was then, and then Claire was she off sick or on holiday for 2 weeks?
I don't know. All I remember is having a meeting with the boss at the time saying it's your turn to work with the new presenters who come in. That's how it works, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get lumbered with, you're sort of on a shift pattern, and you get a new presenter and they need someone for a bit. And Andrew was the boss at the time, who just said, right, you've got to work with Ricky and Steve.
And were you a fan of the show?
I remember listening to him when I first came to London, and I thought, oh, they're a nightmare. Fancy trying to work with them. And then it's like, oh, hello, how are you doing? And I had to work with them, and they came in, and it was me against two. It's not that bad if it's one of you. I remember working with Gail Porter. And, you know, when
do you also remember what she said at the end of her first show? She was coming in to do a series of shows, right? She'd just been on Big Ben. She was a very famous girl, right? She's a lovely girl.
She said, Ben?
Do you remember they projected her image up on Big Ben? Do you remember the picture of her?
Yeah. I thought that was like a Big Brother type programme.
Do you remember her
rude.
on Big Ben?
She was on Big Ben. Jeez.
The image of her was on Big Ben.
Right.
And so she came to XFM and everyone's very excited, okay? And then, if I remember this right, she asked you at the end of the show what you thought of it.
Yeah, and I just said, oh. Well, what annoyed me is...
No, why didn't you say what you said? You went, it's all right, you ain't going to win any awards. And she started crying and never came back.
Yeah, because it annoyed me that there was loads of people in there whooping. She did a link, she came on, hi, I'm Gail Porter, it's XFM. Right, that's
She's not from Ireland. What was that accent from?
She did that, and everyone was going, that's great, Gail, it's great. And then I just sort of said, yeah, it was not going to win any awards, but meaning, let's make it better. You know, I wasn't having a go. It's the first show. It's bad for anyone's first show. I remember doing a show on my own, the first one. It was terrifying. But there's no point building her up. You've got to encourage them, and that was my way. I was sort of like Alan Sugar, sort of make it tough for them, and they get stronger quicker. But she didn't. She packed it in.
I remember the night before I did my first ever show, I'd signed up to come down to Liverpool to take over the breakfast show. Before I was sort of working out garden leave, there was a 3-month break, and I came down to do a Saturday morning breakfast show, like 6 till 10 or whatever. And then Dermot, because Dermot used to do a mid-morning show there as well. It was before Dermot, so I was very nervous, and I met Dermot before. So the night before, the boss took us to the pub, and I met you for the first time. And I remember the first thing you said to me, you shook my hand and said, "Well, I hope you're good, mate, because that show needs someone good. Are you going to be any good on it?"
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I hope so. And that was your pre-motivational chat, the sugar.
Yeah. I remember, do you know what? I never told you. But, do you know, like, I had to get a load of jingles and that made for you.
Yeah.
And I had some recorded.
Yeah.
That was just Christian Connell. Because I thought I thought that was like your gimmick.
My thing is, I'm the man that drops the O.
Well, like your middle name was, I can't even think of a name beginning with O. But
Owen.
I thought Owen.
Yeah.
I thought it was that, and I thought, I don't like that gimmick. Do you know, it seems like a bit sort of Dr. Foxery. I thought, no, not Christian O'Connell. Let's just have Christian O'Connell. And then Andy said, no, why is he saying it's O'Connell? I'm going, no, but he's going, no, that's the name.
And you're going, I don't like the name. He's going to have to change his name to Christian Connell.
Christian Connell. I just thought, people don't like
But now I'm worried because you now have millions of downloads. I'm thinking maybe your weird brain picked up on something there. And maybe if I want to be bigger than Evans and Moores, I need to drop the O.
Try it.
What, so tomorrow's show, can you get some new jingles then? It's just Christian Connell. The TV show then, An Idiot Abroad. How did this happen? I'm not saying how could you get on TV. I'm sort of saying...
No, a lot of people are thinking that as well. But do you know what? It's really weird because I can't remember the point when I agreed to it.
Yeah.
I think...
were they talking to the boys anyway?
I mean, Steve was a big traveller. He thinks travelling the world is good for you. He thought it'd be good for me. He said, what about if we sent you around the world? And I think I said, yeah, it'll never happen. Yeah. Because there was loads of other offers of stuff, and they were all rubbish things. There was something about a programme about dangerous roads that someone wanted me to do. And I said, I don't understand the connection. I've never been run over. I don't understand why they picked me. And there was loads of things like that. I just thought, what's the point? And then Steve mentioned this idea, and I sort of said, whatever. And then I remember someone calling me from a production company. I was up a ladder putting a blind up for a mate.
Yeah.
And he called up and said, this programme's happening. And I was like, right, what now then? And he said, I'll be in touch. All right then. And that was that. So I was none the wiser, and I'd sort of agreed to it. And I thought it was going to be like a proper travel thing. Yeah. I thought, yeah, all right.
Like Michael Palin kind of...
That's what I set out to do. Honestly, on my mum's life, I thought it's sort of that sort of thing, but with a younger person, slightly. And, that's that. And then it sort of, as I did the first trip, I realised it was just a wind-up, really, with Ricky. Mainly Ricky annoying me.
What a surprise.
Putting me up in horrible places, having to do horrible stuff. It's not really about the wonders of the world. It was. I mean, I tried to get out of it. I called up. I did like 3 calls, saying I don't want to do this anymore. I want to, I said send the contract on email. I want to see if I can get out of this. In India, I actually called up the director who was like in charge, but in London, saying they can have the money back. I said I cannot do this. I was ill out of both ends. Just it's not me. You know what I'm like.
Yeah, I know. You don't strike me as the kind of person that likes to travel too much. You've obviously done very well the last couple of years, but most people will buy like a holiday home in maybe the France, the Riviera. You've got a place in Kent.
Yeah, I like that.
That's as far as you like
to
go.
With old people. Yeah. I like not being out of my comfort zone. I just like to relax, travelling. I've been to Spain and stuff, Mallorca. I'm happy with that. Getting a villa.
You really travelled the world there.
No, but it depends what travelling is. Yeah. I mean, you're having a go there. Have you ever walked about with a rucksack on?
No.
That's what I'm saying. And a lot of people who are listening to this...
I can't be doing with that.
A lot of people out there go, I agree with you.
Yeah, I've been to the Taj Mahal. I've seen places like that where you're like, wow, this is incredible.
Have you been?
Yeah. I thought it was an amazing place. I thought it was quite an awe-inspiring place.
But did you stay in India or did you fly in, see it, keep the engine going on the plane?
I didn't keep the engine going on the plane, but I saw some of the local culture and experienced it. Yeah, and I thought, wow, this is interesting.
Did you stay in a kebab shop?
No.
All right, so you had a nice time with me. But yeah, that's what I mean. It's.
Weren't you impressed by? Like the Great Wall of China. I mean, these are sort of very famous historical landmarks. You weren't in any sense of.
What do you know about it? Why do you think I'd be fascinated with?
Well, you can see it from space. That sort of thing would appeal to you.
Right. When you see it, you wouldn't want to see it from space. When you see how bad it is, you go, why would I go all this way to look at that?
What do you mean bad? It's very old.
a lot of it. Well, you say that the old bit is knackered.
Yeah.
If it was here, the council would say, right, let's put some
Health
billboard
and safety up.
get it down. The best bit, where the tourists go, it was built in like 85. A lot of it. 1985. A lot of it was done up in. Now that isn't a wonder. That's a wimpy home, isn't it? That isn't an old wonder of the world. And that's all I was doing. I didn't go to these places to, just turn up and go, that's rubbish. That I went as if, I know nothing about it, and then you see it and you don't let other tourists who are stood there going, oh, that's amazing. That. Oh, look at that. Oh,
what about the Great Pyramids? You not wonder, how are they made? What's happened to get them there?
The most amazing thing I've heard about the pyramids, and I didn't even find this out when I was there, it's after when I got back, but they've moved 3 miles since they were built.
How?
Because the plates on the world shift about, and that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that is incredible.
But the pyramid, honestly, they're not good. When you see it on Sky 1 HD tomorrow night from 9,
Nice bug.
You'll see it in HD, and you'll see how they don't look great. The Taj Mahal, it was my favourite one in terms of a wonder.
So you're more impressed by stone cladding and a bit of Formica or something. These are wonders of history. They shouldn't look great.
But it doesn't count if... You see, the thing with the Taj is it's old, it's got a nice backstory to it, it's well done. I was annoyed that it was built for a dead body, because the place I was staying in when I was there was grim. And yet here's this amazing thing with a dead body in it. That annoyed me. But as a wonder, you go, yeah, I get that. It's amazing. The others are either falling apart, or like I say, the Great Wall of China, built in 85. That doesn't count anymore.
So what do you think is a modern wonder of the world then? Say the next series then is you saying...
I'm not doing another series, I said that already.
Well, what if they let you can pick the travel lodge you want to say, you can do it all from your second home in Kent, okay? And you can... Where would you say is a wonder of the modern world?
I think as soon as you call something a wonder, it ruins it.
All right, then what about something that's quite impressive, worth a second look? Karl's second look.
I think there's a place in Wales called the Ugly House, which has a nice story. It doesn't cost much to get there, and it's like a little. I don't know if it's true, but I think it's where they invented. My dad. I used to go to Wales a lot as a kid, and we used to pass it on the way, and he said it's where bungalows were invented by this ugly house, because someone was building this house, and the fella who was having it built said to the builder, "That is ugly." He said, I've never seen a building as ugly as
It's
that.
even got a dull story, though. The pyramids, you're like, what is that? Rather than what's the story with that? Oh, they were building a house. It wasn't very nice. It was called the Ugly House. Bang.
Yeah, but I think, like I say, it's because of all the people who turn up and they're all there and, oh, isn't it wondrous? And things like that annoy me. It was meant to be... I mean, Suzanne, my girlfriend, saw, like, an episode and she's going, oh, you do moan. I said, I know, but it's not that good. And she's saying, yeah, but that's meant to be... the whole sort of icing on the cake of each trip. When you get to the wonder, that's like the icing on the cake. But when you think about it, the icing on the cake isn't the best bit anyway. I've never understood that saying. That's the bit you normally chip off.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought with the whole trip. The countries are amazing. To go to these places that I thought I'd never go to. I never thought I'd go to India. I never had any intention to go to China. And seeing how they live, that is good.
Yeah.
If people want to do that, I'd say do that. That's good. But I tell you what, don't bother with the wall. Don't bother with the pyramids, because it's no good. It's a nightmare. You're being sold tat. You're being pushed along with people. Hurry up, hurry up. I want to see the wall. You're being shoved. It's not a fun time to have, and you see that in the programme tomorrow night, Sky 1
Sky 1 HD.
So
9 o'clock?
9 o'clock, yeah. Probably on again at 10, innit? They sort of repeat it again and again.
Sky 2 will be on at 10, yeah, repeating it. Well, listen, K-Man, it's nice to see you again. I've seen the trails. It looks really funny. I will watch it.
It's not meant. Remember, it's not meant to be funny as well. Just because Rick and Steve are in it, people go, "Oh, it must be a comedy." It's not. It's me, sort of out of my comfort zone. And there's times, especially in India, where I'm having a breakdown. I can't handle it. So I think it's a true travel log. I think it's probably the bits of Palin that they wouldn't put in.
The outtakes of Palin. Okay, that's what I'll think of it when I'm watching it tomorrow. You've got to shoot off now because I know you're off to this morning. Are you going to do the Ugly House story there?
What do you think?
Yeah, please do, because I want to see that, please. I want to see your skillful
I didn't even
reaction.
get to the end of it.
What happened?
No, you'll have to tune into this morning, that's all.